An interesting touring car day at Rockingham, to say the least. We've had a first touring car victory in the career of Stephen Jelley and a 50th victory in the touring car career of Jason Plato, and one that really puts him back in the championship frame. Round 27 is coming up and Louise is on the grid.
Down on the grid with Tom Chilton, who, let's face it, is like an excited puppy at the best of times, but this pole position has really got you bouncing around the paddock, hasn't it?
I feel very bouncy myself, and so does the team. It's nice to be on pole position. The last time I was on pole was at Brands Hatch, actually, in the Vauxhall 2006. But I actually did that myself by actually driving well. Actually, I still have the lap record there. But I tell you what, it's so nice sitting here. You can see no cars in front of you. You can see lots of people to the left and right of you. And it's great for our sponsors to get lots of TV at the front. And I really hope we can stay here.
You said to me earlier on, oh, it's really easy when you're starting from pole.
Yeah, because you've got no one in front of you. You can just relax, take it easy. I always think it's best as a racing driver to be relaxed. Imagine playing golf. If you get really stressed and try and hit the ball too hard, you always top it or it goes left to right. If you just relax, it's better. And when I'm at the front, I don't know what it is, but I'm just ultra relaxed because there's no one around you. You can just do your own thing and, yeah, ignore your mirrors.
Good luck, mate. Now, I know he likes to spend a little bit of time by himself, relaxing and getting himself prepared for the start of the race. So while he's chilling in the car, I'm going to grab a word with James Nash, new to the championship this season, but we've seen some real flashes of good performance from him. James, we know this car is capable of getting podium positions. We've seen your teammates do it earlier on today, and you're in a really good position to get your own now, aren't you?
Yeah, I mean, we've had the pace, very similar pace to Matt and Jason, but we just messed up qualifying, so it's just been a hard weekend so far. I'm hoping we can get past these two guys in front fairly quick and just leave the BMW standing, but I think it's going to be a bit harder than that.
Lovely idea, though. Now, you've had to slightly adapt your driving style to suit this car. You've really been learning about it as the year's gone on, haven't you?
Yeah, we've been in Formula Ford, so rear-wheel drive. This is something completely different, so a lot to learn and still got a lot to learn.
Good luck. We'll see you later on. I think we've got time for a quick word with the two championship leaders, Colin Turkington. I caught up with Colin quickly after the last race. He was very frustrated earlier on in the day, but finally he had a smile back on his face after finishing in fourth place. Much happier with the car now, aren't you?
Yeah, the car was going really well in the second race. You know, we took the weight out and made a few tweaks to it, and the speed just comes, so feeling much more confident for this one.
First time you've been ahead of Fabrizio on the grid so far this weekend. How do you rate your chances of staying ahead of him?
Yeah, it's not easy. You know, he's finished twice in front of me, but saying that, he hasn't taken many points away. So, you know, I'd be happy if I can peg it back this time. You know, try and score a few more points than him. You know, Jason Plato now is right in the thick of it. So, you know, there's Chevrolets to think about now as well.
Well, you've got your teammate Stephen Jelley right ahead of you on the grid. I guess that plays into your hands, really, doesn't it? What part do you expect him to play in this race?
Well, you know, I'm expecting Stephen to get a good start. Difficult to plan much in touring cars. You know, hopefully I'll get off the line well, try and pass a few, and then see how the race goes from there.
Sounds like a good plan to me. Right, let's just go and grab a quick word with Fabrizio. He is gradually creeping up on Colin Turkington, just a few points in it now. Now, Fabrizio, we've been enjoying lovely sunny weather here at Rockingham. It's nice and warm, Italian kind of weather, but your car doesn't really like it, does it?
Yeah, it looks no, but yeah, I enjoyed the good weather because the people can watch the race without umbrella. Yeah, it's all right. I had good point against Colin, and yeah, Jason is strong, but it's more interesting for everyone. No problem.
How do you see this one going?
I don't know. Play the lottery. You can know that.
We wish you the best of luck. Let's go over to our commentators, Tim Harvey and Ben Edwards.
Thanks, Louise. Well, here we go then. Race 3 of the day, Tim. It's still all open. We've got Turkington, Giovanardi. They're on the same row of the grid. I wonder what's going to happen this time.
Well, I don't know. Tom Chilton says he likes starting on pole because there's no one around him, but I bet you by the time they get down to that Dean hairpin, there'll be plenty of cars around him.
Yeah, and we've got those fast-starting BMWs to worry about, so it's going to be really interesting to see who's going to come out of that hairpin first.
Yeah, Turkington's going to want to get past his teammate Jelley as quickly as possible, and he's going to want to make maximum use out of being in front of Giovanardi, as we heard the first time this weekend he has started in front of him, and of course he starts with less weight as well.
So it's going to be a fascinating battle. We've got the focus on pole position then for the first time. Tom Chilton for Team Aon, and he's got Andrew Jordan in one of those Vauxhalls next door. He's still looking for his first victory, remember, in the series. On the second row, James Nash, who's had a win on the road but had it taken away from him. Stephen Jelly, who had his first win earlier on today. He's on a roll. Behind them, we've got the Airways BMW of Johnny Adam, and there's championship leader, but by only 5 points now, Colin Turkington. He lines up on that third row, and right next behind him is Fabrizio Giovanardi starting 7th. Matt Jackson, who's certainly on a roll of good results recently, he starts from 8th place. 9th on the grid then, Jason Plato, now with maximum ballast. Then it's Johnny Herbert. Two of them came together at Silverstone last time, remember? Let's hope they can keep it clean this time. Behind them on row number 6, it's Harry Volkard and Anthony Reid. Reid in the third of the Team RAC cars, of course. And then back onto row 7, Dave Pinkney for Team Dynamics, and Martin Johnson in the Boulevard Team Racing Astra Coupe. Row 8, Paul O'Neill and Gordon Shedden. Gordon had some problems with the car in that last race, so hoping for better things in this one. And then we've got Matt Hamilton and Matt Neal. Matt's had a really difficult, well, both have had a difficult weekend. Matt Hamilton, of course, making his first steps in touring cars. Matt Neal, slightly more experienced. John George and Tom Onslow-Cole down towards the back of the grid. And then all the way down at the back, we've got Rob Collard, I'm afraid, because, of course, he had a problem with his car in that second race very early on. So he starts right down at the back. And there he is. So bit of work to do. We'll just see if he, as they go away on their formation lap, first of all, make sure everybody gets away cleanly. It looks as though the front few rows are moving away quite safely. No problems at all, and it's Tom Chilton who's going to lead them around. Now, we've seen there that Rob Collard has a massive amount of work to do from the very back of the grid. He had problems. We'll see if we can get a quick word with Rob. This is Ben in the commentary box. Rob, he had a horrible time really this weekend so far. What can you do from the back there?
Well, the Airways BMW is going to be having to work really hard in this race. Unfortunately, race 2 we had a transmission failure, which has put us at the back of the grid, so I'm just hoping we can pull something out of the bag and kick up a gear.
The car seems to be working pretty well in that first race. You managed to get past your teammate after an initial good start and then backwards a little bit, so it's been a bit of a seesaw, hasn't it?
Yes, well, it's very hard to compete against the Chevrolets at the very first part of a race, but towards the end we were doing very well and we were pulling them in. So the car was strong at the end of the race, and I just hope now in race 3 it does the same. It's very strong at the end.
Okay, Rob, we'll leave you to the warm-up and we'll be watching you.
Yeah, I'm sure the driver's eyes look like saucers through that camera lens, don't they? Because we saw Matt Jackson earlier, and his eyes looked out as though they're out on stalks.
Yeah, that's right. Well, there's Colin Turkington looking relatively relaxed in his car. He is still leading the championship, but boy, this is getting close now. As ever, British touring cars, it loves to take us to the wire, doesn't it? And it looks like it's going to do so again. He is a bit happier after that performance earlier, but Giovanardi is such a major threat. The love of the fight, that is his motto, and he is in for the fight. He's in for the battle all the way through the rest of this race and 3 more at Brands Hatch.
Yeah, it's funny, isn't it, though? You look at Turkington and Giovanardi's eyes, the two guys fighting for the championship, and they don't look quite nearly as revved up, do they? I'm sure they are, but certainly Collard's eyes look like they were popping out.
Yeah, that's right. The sun is still glinting through the window there of Fabrizio Giovanardi's car, though. This absolutely stunning early autumn day here at Rockingham. It's been beautiful, wonderful conditions, somewhat different conditions to the rather wet weather that was here at Rockingham in the earlier part of the year last season, when Matt Neal took a very impressive win in one of the wet races there. From 11th on the grid, he came through to win it.
Yeah, September, a much better time to hold a race here at Rockingham, I think, than April.
It does seem to be, doesn't it? Well, the pole man is already lining up into his position, Tom Chilton. Of course, he's won races in British touring cars in the past, but it's a slightly different prospect now driving this Ford Focus, which, if you remember, is brand new for this year. They've had their difficulties in getting it engineered to be up at the sharp end. They're still to really get every ounce of performance out of it, but some wonderful work by Mount Tune, who are doing the engines, have certainly made them much more competitive in the last couple of meetings. So let's see how Chilton gets on. He loves starting up front, as we know. Here we're on board with Collard. He's still waiting to get onto the grid, so there's a bit of a wait for the guys on the front row. He'll park in his spot, and then you'll see, can't quite see the marshal at the back there, who's going to wave the green flag. It is a green flag from the back. There we go. engine revs begin to rise, and we're all ready then for the final touring car race of the day here at Rockingham to take us to the big finale at Brands Hatch. Away we go. It's a good start from Andrew Jordan in the Vauxhall. He's got off that front row as well, but Chilton's just going to fend him off into the first corner. Stephen Jelly, I think, has made a good start. He's up to third place immediately. Turkington not quite so effective off the line, but I think he's ahead of Giovanardi, who again didn't make a brilliant start himself.
Yeah, a little bit of contact between Plato and Turkington just coming down to that first corner. You can see him on the inside there. Matt Jackson slipping up the inside of Turkington. He won't want that.
No, he could lose a place there, Turkington. James Nash is still in front of Turkington, or Jelly rather, but up front is Chilton who leads the race. Chilton in the Team-Ale focus, contact there. Bolt cards off. There was some damage done as well. One of the Team RAC cars, might have been Anthony Reid, involved in there in the middle of the pack somewhere. Oh, the Chevy over on the grass. Oh, and taking out the banner. That was Paul O'Neill, I think.
Yeah, you can tell it's the third race of the day, can't you, with the reverse grid. And so far, let's not forget, Tom Chilton out in front with some clear road behind.
This is impressive stuff here, though. Turkington trying to keep Matt Jackson behind, then Giovanardi, then Johnny Adam, and then Jason Plato. What a gaggle of cars this is as they all come in, and now Giovanardi's going to get down on the inside of Jackson. He's got past Jackson. Giovanardi, nice manoeuvre there. Adam lost out as well. Plato's at the back of that group, and that, oh, look at this. Jackson's trying to come back at Giovanardi. Jackson on the inside, almost on the grass. Who's it going to be turning in? Jackson just does it.
Oh, that was close racing, and brave of Jackson to keep his foot in on the grass.
Yeah, that was tight, wasn't it? But they all got away with it, and they're all making around this first lap. Chilton is the race leader. Good effort from Chilton. Jordan in second place. James Nash is third. Stephen Jelly is fourth. Colin Turkington is in fifth place. Jackson is sixth. Giovanardi seventh. Then it's Johnny Adam and Jason Plato down in ninth place, and of course carrying lots of ballast back up with that group. And Giovanardi making contact with Jackson, and Jackson goes straight on. No option there but to just go straight, and that's lost him a whole bunch of places.
Yeah, that will certainly be one that's going to get Bob Kettleborough, the clerk of the course's attention, because it looked like a rear impact that put Jackson out.
So Giovanardi still attacking. There was somebody else on the grass in the background. I think they might have recovered, but it's all happening on this final race of the day here at Rockingham. This is a tight, twisty circuit. It does tend to bring up incident. This is what happened with Giovanardi on Jackson, Tim. Let's have a look at it and see what happened.
On board, and well, it really, I mean, obviously Giovanardi barely gets his car stopped before going off as well, so you'd have to say really that Jackson was the innocent party in that. It really looks as though Giovanardi was hoping to go up the inside but just couldn't stop the car.
Yeah, that wasn't the usual judgment from Giovanardi, the judgment we normally see. Meanwhile, there's some good battles still going on. Stephen Jelly has the blue Chevrolet of James Nash behind him. Remember, Stephen Jelly won earlier on today when he was sitting in second place, managed to pick his way past Johnny Adam and take the win. He's now got James Nash behind in one of those fast Chevrolets, so he's got to watch out for that. Behind the Chevrolet, then it is Colin Turkington. He's running fifth, and then there's a bit of a gap back to Giovanardi. So from Turkington's point of view, he needs to be in front of Giovanardi. He is, but there's no cars between himself and the Italian. Up front, it's still Chilton leading by 6/10 there. Jordan in second, then Jelly in third, and then the next group, Giovanardi just in front of Johnny Adam.
Yeah, and of course that does mean as well that Jackson's run of podiums has probably come to an end, and I won't say definitely, because you never know in touring cars with a safety car and some upsets, anything can happen, but it'd be very unlikely for him to get on the podium from down in 19th place.
Yeah, that's where he is, all the way down in 19th position. Meanwhile, Turkington, here we are on board with the championship leader. He's tucked in behind James Nash. Nash was very apologetic. He went and apologised to Turkington earlier. If you remember, there was an incident where Turkington ran into the back of Nash. Nash said that the engine hiccuped. He was in this following another car, and we know that happens sometimes, and he said it wasn't his fault. He didn't lift off or anything. The car just hiccuped. Turkington ran into his rear bumper, and he looked in his mirror and saw Turkington spinning, but he was quite apologetic about it, even though it wasn't.
I was going to say, no need to be apologetic, really. It wasn't his fault. It happens to everyone. Paul O'Neill in the pits, looking like he's going to retire.
And Pinkney off as well in the gravel trap. Makes you wonder if there was an incident on that last lap that we haven't yet seen. But I think the safety cars on circuit, so that's going to bunch them all back up. And it's a day for safety cars, Tim, no doubt about it.
Yeah, it's part of the problem here at Rockingham, because we have no snatch facility. We have to really implement the safety car if there's a car in the gravel.
I'll tell you who this really helps is Giovanardi, because at the time that came out, he was 2.5 seconds behind Turkington. the championship challengers, but of course now they're going to be right together. Tyres will have a chance to cool down a bit, and I think Giovanardi will be very grateful for this safety car. It's going to suit him quite well.
Yes, I think he's the big winner out of it. As you say, he's pulled 2.5 seconds, which would have probably taken him 4 or 5 laps on race pace to have recovered.
So he'll be pleased. There he is, the onboard view with Giovanardi. He's just gained him a fair chunk of time. Let's just quickly update you on where everyone is then. Chilton is leading the race, Jordan is second, Jelly third, then Nash and Turkington, Giovanardi in 6th place, then Plato, Shedden, Herbert is 9th, Anthony Reid is 10th, and Rob Collard, remember, who started from the back, and we spoke to him just before the start of the race. He started from the back, he's now up to 11th, so that's a good effort. He's made a pretty good getaway there.
Well, let's not forget Rob Collard's drive, almost a drive of the year perhaps, at Alton Park when he came from the back right to the front.
Looking at a little bit of this what happened to Johnny Adam. I wonder what happened, because he's dropped down the order. Ooh, that was a bit of a crunch there, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was never going to work, was it?
No, that's right.
It reminded me a little bit of Cleland and Soper circa 1992, that did.
Now that's interesting. Collard just dropping down below the white line. It was a very good start, and he made the most of it, didn't he? He is so fast off the line, Rob Collard, and he did it again.
I actually think he's the best starter in the British Touring Car Championship. He really is absolutely perfect off the line.
So yeah, a brilliant start. That was up into Dean Hairpin. Oh, he did make a little bit of contact with Pinkney. That wasn't it? Just ahead of him, I think. That was his start then. Let's have a word with the man himself. He's now up into 11th place. Rob, this is Ben. We were just been watching a replay of your start. That was quite some start we saw.
Yeah, very happy with the start. As always, the Airways BMW gets off the line really well, really cleanly, and we're in the hunt at the moment, but it feels that at the moment our water temperature is very high. I don't know if we've been running in traffic, but water temperature is quite high at the moment. I monitor this on the restart.
Okay, well, let me talk to your team about that one.
And that is obviously concerned. You can see the frown on his face.
Yeah, I mean, it may well be because of the little taps he had on that first lap. It may have actually dislodged the radiator, broken something in the cooling system. Hopefully not, because it certainly shouldn't be overheating at this stage.
No, it's not. I mean, it's been a warm day, but it's cooling down a bit now.
Yeah.
It's nothing compared to some of the hot days we've had midsummer. Now then, lights are off on the safety car. Tom Chilton still leading this race, remember, looking for the first ever win for the Ford Focus in the British Touring Car Championship without classes and things. There were some Focuses in production classes some years ago, but as a one-class system. So that would be interesting. Lights are out, and Chilton will be the one to determine the pace when they get going once again. It's Andrew Jordan behind him, and then of course Stephen Jelly as well, who had a taste of victory earlier on today on that roll of good results. Then it's James Nash, another youngster with something to prove, and then it's Colin Turkington and Fabrizio Giovanardi. So where to look, I'm not sure. We'll try and watch it all as they get ready for the restart here into the final Brooks chicane, and Chilton is going to judge the pace and then drive it out.
He's already gone. He's on it all the way through that chicane. He was on it, and a very good restart actually, about as good as you could possibly get around here.
Chilton leads then as they take the restart here at Rockingham, the third and final race of the day. He's got a good restart from Andrew Jordan, and then Stephen Jelly in the Team RAC BMW. Nash a little bit slower off away, and Turkington attacking Nash for 4th place. Down the inside, I think Turkington is going to get past Nash. Yeah, not fought too hard there, and Nash just wasn't quite as quick on the restart. Turkington's taken advantage.
Yeah, well, maybe Nash was sort of too apologetic after that first race incident, felt he should let Turkington through, but that was a good move by Turkington to capitalise straight away when he had Giovanardi behind. Was really good, and it looks like Collard does have a problem, presumably with that high water temperature, because he's slowing right down.
Oh, that's a great shame. That's a big disappointment after such a good first lap. Meanwhile, Chilton still leads. Andrew Jordan in 2nd place, and then Stephen Jelly in 3rd. Fascinating encounter up front. Meanwhile, Johnny Herbert's running down in 9th place, just ahead of Anthony Reid. We think we lost Collard down the order. That will bring Matt Neal up one, so Matt Neal should be up to 11th place. That's been a bit of a tough weekend for Matt, but nonetheless, he might still pick up some places in this final race. There are the cars of Rob Collard now and Dave Pinkney, and that's a great pity. So Rob has pulled off, and as you say, probably connected with that water temperature issue we were hearing about.
Yeah, because his front bonnet looks as though it's slightly dislodged as well, but obviously now Turkington is behind Jelly, so he's going to gain that place free of charge, which is also going to help his points, and Andrew Jordan's put his lights on to try and rattle Tom Chilton.
Yeah, it's a fascinating encounter up ahead. We've got Tom Chilton, who, young as he is a bit of a veteran of British touring cars. He knows how to win races. Andrew Jordan, in only his second season of British touring cars, his first as a works driver, but desperate for a win. Particularly, we know that Vauxhall are leaving British touring cars. He doesn't know yet where or for whom he'll be driving next year. What an opportunity this is for Andrew Jordan to really show what he can do. But there's still some laps to go in this race. We're only on lap 7 out of 18. You're watching from Giovanardi's car, and a bit of a slide from James Nash ahead.
Yeah, I think it's easy to forget how young Andrew Jordan is and how little experience he's had prior to touring cars, but I certainly think he's had a frustrating year from his point of view, as indeed have some, Matt Neal in the same team at times as well. But this is a great opportunity, as you say, for him to get a great result.
Bit of a lock-up for Nash, but it doesn't really cost him any time, I don't think. He's still watching with Giovanardi, who's suddenly using a wider line now out of that hairpin.
Yeah, that lock-up from the Chevy there, that seems to be a trait of the car, because in the first race when Plato and Jackson were running together, they were both locking up the wheel into that very same corner.
Yeah, interesting one. Chilton is still our race leader as they come back over the stripe this time, but look how close Andrew Jordan is. And I tell you what, Jordan is driving this with his head very much screwed onto his shoulders, because he has overdriven a couple of times this year, I would dare to say, when he's been in a strong position. He is not overdriving at the moment. He's just sitting there patiently, or is he going to go for it? He's down the inside. There's contact, but he's through, I think. Andrew Jordan squeezes past, and Tom Chilton is pushed back to second.
Well, Chilton did a great job of saving that. It was a committed late lunge from Jordan. He signals his intent and really went for it. Tom was actually closing the door on his normal line anyway and did very well to save spinning.
Another Vauxhall into the pits, that's Matt Neal, so his miserable weekend has continued, but as you say, that was an aggressive move from Jordan, but he made it happen, and Chilton has held on to second place. Then it's the two BMWs. There is Matt, I'm afraid, pulling off in the pit lane. All over for him. He's going to write this weekend off. He's had a couple of desperately miserable weekends, actually. Both Silverstone and this one have been virtually pointless in every expression of that phrase. But up front we've still got this battle. Turkington you're riding with now behind Stephen Jelly, his teammate. Jelly's still attacking, and he's going to try and get through if he can, because of course later in the race he knows he may well have to move out of the way for Turkington.
Yeah, I mean, I guess at the moment it suits RAC to let Jelly attack Chilton, because they would rather save Turkington till later in the race if he needs to do any attacking.
Andrew Jordan leads them, the gap 0.7 of a second over Tom Chilton, then Jelly and Turkington. Nash is still 5th, Giovanardi 6th, Plato, by the way, 7th place in the Chevrolet. Look at this little attack coming up from Jelly, but no, not quite. And Plato does make a move on Giovanardi. The two great rivals, Plato's taken it.
Yeah, Giovanardi's actually struggling a bit in this one, isn't he? I mean, he hasn't made the progress that Turkington made in front of him, and even when there was a gap in front, he couldn't keep up with the pace. Here's the pass again from Plato, a dive down the inside, no defence whatsoever from Giovanardi. So I just wonder if he is struggling with some other problem or tyre degradation or something, but he certainly hasn't got the pace we'd have expected.
No, that is a little bit odd. It was pretty frantic on that opening lap. You wonder if there was any damage done. Johnny Herbert's the next car in line to try and put some pressure on the Italian. So here we go, Johnny Herbert, only his second ever touring car event. Up front, Plato, did you look at that? Plato nearly having a look at getting past Turkington, which could have been...
I mean, now I think would be a good time for Jelly to let Turkington through, because Turkington's under pressure from Plato, which is not what the team want.
Yeah, actually it's Nash still in front of Plato.
Yeah, you're right, yeah.
But yeah, they are getting quite aggressive and they want to move up here. Meanwhile, Chilton probably holding these guys up now. Jelly tucked in so close behind him. Matt Neal, he's just, forget this week. He just forget it.
He can't believe how much bad luck he's had this weekend, and that's just how it goes. I mean, we were talking earlier about the year when Giovanardi finished every race in the points, and having wrapped up the championship at Brands, barely finished a race. Here we go. Jelly up the inside for second place against Chilton.
Yeah, and there's no way that Chilton can shut the door this time. Meanwhile,
and Plato past Nash.
Yeah, Plato gets Nash, and that's got to concern Turkington a little bit now. He needs to really find a way past Chilton quickly here, because Plato's on the charge. Plato will not care about getting a little bit rough if he needs to, just to gain some more places. So Turkington can't afford to sit behind the Ford Focus for too much longer. The Focus is going well, but it doesn't quite have the front-running pace of these guys.
The other thing you've got to remember is it's in Plato's interest, if he can sort of hurt Turkington in some way, that's one of his championship rivals. If he's going to make inroads that 20-odd points, he needs Turkington or Giovanardi to have a bit of a mare. So if he's running behind them, he's got the opportunity to do something.
Maybe that's why Giovanardi didn't fight it too hard when Plato came through a moment ago.
Yeah, quite possibly.
He knows the way it works. Meanwhile, still watching on board with Colin Turkington as he keeps this pressure on Tom Chilton. Now, it was out of the next chicane here and onto the banking that Jelly was so impressive last time that it gave him the run down towards Dean. But I can tell you that Plato is tucked on the rear bumper of Colin Turkington here. You're looking at Turkington, but right behind him now is the Silverline racing machine of Jason Plato. There it is. So Turkington really feeling a little bit of pressure now to try and get past this Ford Focus as rapidly as possible. In the background, Johnny Herbert really is putting Giovanardi under a little bit of pressure. Chilton's going a little bit defensive, but Turkington's going to go for it down the inside. Plato will try and follow him, and he's going to do it. Plato judging that pretty impressively, actually, getting through, passing the Focus. Could easily have run into the back of Turkington doing that, but judged it well.
Yeah, that was perfect by both of them. I mean, the Ford has come on massive leaps and bounds since Mountune started doing the engines, but he was powerless to stop two of the fastest cars coming by.
This is a replay once again, as you say, and Plato just managed to sort of latch himself onto the rear bumper of Turkington without really hitting him. Might have been a slight tap, but that was good stuff from them.
No, that was perfect judgment, and Team RAC very happy about that.
Yeah, definitely. But that's got him another place ahead of Giovanardi, which of course is crucial. But it does mean that Plato is still directly behind Turkington. But he is now up into third place here, Colin Turkington, and you're on board with him, looking back at Plato. So Jason not far away, not really quite close enough to attack this time round. James Nash is still running in sixth.
Yeah, Turkington's really put his head down on this lap to try and pull a little bit of distance if he can from Plato. It's been a good lap. See who's quickest out of here. Pretty similar. Probably Turkington getting the jump a little bit.
Yeah, good traction off that corner where the rear-wheel drive car, but the Chevy is fast in a straight line, isn't it? So as they head around the banking and down towards the Dean hairpin, that's where they can attack. Johnny Herbert still pretty close in behind Fabrizio Giovanardi, and this is exactly what Steve Neal was hoping for, that Johnny would get a bit of decent track time. And up front there's a battle, a change as Stephen Jelly's going to try and take the lead from Andrew Jordan, squeezing out wide. Jordan tried to stay with it, and Jelly has taken the lead. He wants 2 wins here today. 1 is not enough.
That's amazing, isn't it? And I tell you, Jelly's learned how to race touring cars, hasn't he? Because he knew he had to push Jordan wide there, knew it.
Yeah, that was real touring car driving, and Stephen, I know it sort of took him a little while to get used to the different style of racing in touring cars compared to Formula 3, where you really don't lean on one another. But Jordan's not giving up here. Oh, I thought he was going to have another go.
No, I really thought he was going to go, but I think Jelly's one wide. Jelly's one wide. He's got on those marbles. Oh. Jordan's back in front.
Wonderful racing. Jordan has retaken the lead here. Behind them is still Turkington and Plato, and Jelly better watch out because he'll get some of his own medicine if he tries to stay around the outside. He slots in behind. Oh, this is great stuff. Andrew Jordan is back in front, but Stephen Jelly doing everything he can to try and pass that Vauxhall. Got in front briefly, but Jordan wasn't having it and has re-passed him. That's true fighting spirit. Jelly gives him a little nudge in the final corner.
Yeah, Jelly's really quick out of that final corner, but he might have lost momentum out of that, and this could give Turkington the chance, especially if the team are shouting at him, which they probably are, to let him through.
Well, you do wonder, because Plato's tucked in there as well. The last thing they need, Team RAC, is for Stephen Jelly to have an accident with Jordan. Jelly now trying to go down the outside, but there's not. Oh, Plato's going to take Turkington. Plato uses that beautifully. He's going to try and take Turkington. They're still side by side. They give each other just enough racing room. Turkington's on the inside, and he's still, and half a spin for Jordan. Turkington's going to catch it. Where's he going to go? Jelly gets in front. Turkington into second. Jordan's trying to shut the door on Turkington and Plato. Can he do it? Yes, he shut the door on Turkington, and he somehow holds on to second.
That was great side-by-side racing, wasn't it? That was a fantastic sequence of corners there, and it's given Jelly the jump as well out in front.
Yeah, it has. So Stephen Jelly has a big chance now, but Jordan did mighty stuff to hold on to second. He could easily have gone back to fourth there because he was slightly out of position after that half spin, but he has amazing car control thanks to his Rallycross Championship winning experience. Turkington's hit by Plato, who's pushing him. Oh no! And it's taken out Nash as well. Oh, this is not what we wanted. It was was good and clean racing up to now, but now, unfortunately...
Giovanardi's coming through.
Giovanardi.
And Herbert. Herbert's in front, is he? No, he's not.
I think he's got Turkington. He's in front of Turkington. So that with Turkington's lost big time there to Giovanardi. He's still in the race, but that's disastrous from his championship point of view, because Giovanardi's now got ahead, and he's not just one place ahead, he's 2 ahead.
Well, dare I say it, that is exactly why Plato's in the pit, so he's got damage. But that is exactly why Team RAC should have let Turkington past.
Yeah.
If they'd put Turkington in front of Jelly, Plato wouldn't have been able to do that move.
No, that's right. And now, Johnny Herbert going past Giovanardi, but running deep into the corner. That's going to give Turkington a chance to gain some of that time back, or lost ground back, but he can't do it. Giovanardi stays in front of Johnny Herbert. Herbert's really getting into this touring car business, isn't he?
He certainly is, and Turkington needs to keep his cool here. He's lost a really good result, but he's still in contact with Giovanardi, and we know Giovanardi's car isn't particularly quick at the moment, so Turkington needs to keep his cool and try and salvage the most that he can out of this. Oh, look at Giovanardi right out over the curbs.
Stephen Jelly leads this race, Jordan second, Chilton still there in third, by the way. Look at Herbert going side by side, and then he cuts back. That's clever stuff. Is he going to get the line into the hairpin? Side by side, Herbert on the inside, Giovanardi on the outside. Johnny Herbert is...
where's Turkington? Turkington could get them both.
He could do. He's alongside Giovanardi, the 2 championship challengers, but Turkington's going to try and take both of them. He's going to try and go around the outside of Herbert, but Herbert's diving, and Giovanardi! Oh, they can't all 3 go through there, surely. Turkington's still there. Giovanardi's still side by side with Herbert. Turkington's going to get the inside line. He's going to get
good driving.
My goodness, that is amazing. Unbelievable racing here at Rockingham.
Well, Johnny Herbert, this is touring car racing. I hope you're enjoying it. It's not over yet. They're coming into this flat out first corner. Jackson's up the inside of Herbert turns in. Brave stuff.
Jackson, who had that spin early on, he's right in the battle again. You said, well, don't count him out for a podium again, Tim, and he's still on for it, perhaps. Well, not really. They're a bit off the podium runners, but Turkington's got back ahead of it. Look how Giovanardi's dropped back. Giovanardi desperately in trouble now. So it's all changed complexion again suddenly. Plato's out of this race. Giovanardi's dropped right back. Suddenly Turkington is going to grab something out of this.
And it looked all lost. And had he been turned around, he was so nearly turned around. Matt Hamilton off the road, but had Turkington been spun around and not had that second contact to push him straight, he would have been well back.
It's just incredible how things can change. Johnny Herbert, well, I think he's a touring car racer now, don't you?
He certainly had his baptism, hasn't he, in this race? Some of the best side-by-side racing I've seen in a long time.
Yeah, really, really good stuff. And there is Johnny. So he's in now 5th place. I mean, that's a great result if he can hold on to that. But he's got the fastest Chevy of Matt Jackson right behind in 6th place. Giovanardi, of course, has dropped back several more places, and that will bring Johnny Adam back up the order after problems earlier on for him. So it really is a seesaw race, this one. But let's remind you that it's Stephen Jelly who is leading for Team RAC. He's looking at 2 wins in 3 races here today. There is Turkington crossing the line in 4th, Herbert in 5th, Jackson, then Johnny Adam in 7th, Shedden in 8th. Where is Giovanardi? Just waiting to see. Yeah, he's come through in 9th place, so he's still in the points, but way down, and that's got to be a worry.
Giovanardi's lap time of 1:32 as opposed to 1:25s of the leaders, so that's how much trouble he's in.
Yeah, I think Herbert's just been passed. Yes, he has, by Jackson. Jackson gains that 5th place, so Johnny losing 1, and he's got the BMW of Johnny Adam behind him as well, so he could still be in a bit of trouble here of losing another place. And that car, I'm sure, was ricocheting between one and then another, so it may well have some damage on it. Nothing too obvious, it looks reasonably clean. Of course, it got a big hit earlier on today, didn't it, when Matt Neal speared into the side of him.
Yeah, this has been one of those races where the championship has fluctuated massively on almost every lap.
Yeah, absolutely. You just don't know which way it's going to go, and it's so important at this stage. I mean, the damage on Turkington's car, you wonder, can that car, make it to the end? We're on lap 16 out of 18, and there's a fair old bit of damage to it, so let's hope that it's not something that's going to affect him. Jackson in the background there's the race leader. That's Stephen Jelly. And when they always say to him, when you make that breakthrough win, it seems to come easier. Well, look at this.
Yeah, and he's looked like he was after it as well all the way through this race. And it's like buses. When they come along, they come in 2s. And in the background, I've seen that Giovanardi's lost another place to Onslow Cole.
Oh, well, that means he's dropped to 10th place in that case, and he'll only get a point if he stays in 10th place. Fastest lap in the race, by the way, has gone to Stephen Jelly. That was way back on lap 3. We're now on lap 17 out of 18 as Johnny Johnny Adam has a look at getting past Johnny Herbert. He's going to have a go down the inside. Johnny locks up. These are too late on the brakes, can't hold him off, and he loses another place.
Yeah, but a great fight by Johnny Herbert. He's added hugely to the entertainment value in this race, and he'll have learnt a lot as well.
Yeah, he will have learnt a lot, and he's good fun to watch. I'm not sure that car's tracking quite as straight as it was at the beginning of the race either, so he may be fighting a bit of a handling
also
balance.
It had that big impact, didn't it, in the first race, so it may not be all square anyway.
That's right. That's dropped him down to 7th place now, but this is, as you say, the best we've seen from Johnny. Huge experience. In fact, he's got a bit of a run going there. Oh, he nearly had to think about getting down the inside of, and that has been Johnny's slight weakness, that left hand.
Yeah, it's been his bête noire, and he knew it, so he defended very early, didn't he? So not to give Johnny a chance, but Johnny hasn't given up on this.
No, he hasn't. No, he's still looking at gaining a bit of speed, cutting in quite deep into the hairpin, looking for the exit out of the corner and seeing what he can do from there. Still keeping Johnny Adam under pressure, but as they come around this time, they will be coming around onto their final lap. They are going on to their last lap this time, and it'll be Stephen Jelly who leads them round. He's got an advantage of 1.5 seconds over Andrew Jordan in 2nd place. And Tom Chilton, you know what? Tom Chilton is still heading for a podium finish here, and that is something to shout about as well, because for Team Aon on that Ford Focus, that would be a massive, massive achievement. Their best result of the season after a great 5th place at Silverstone last time. There is Jelly, there's Andrew Jordan, and then it's the Focus of Tom Chilton. Can he hold on? Well, he's got Turkington behind him, but I don't see Turkington throwing everything at trying to get past that Focus. He knows that he's well ahead of Giovanardi. He'll know that Plato is out of the points. I'm sure the team have probably been talking to Turkington throughout this race, trying to keep him up to date with what's going on, I should think.
Yeah, great race for Jelly, though. He looked aggressive when he needed to be, and he driven really, really well to force his way to the front with some good moves, and he's thoroughly deserved these 2 victories today. Giovanardi struggling round in 10th, and well, we'll see if he can make it round for the final point, but Turkington's going to be very happy with this result.
He is, yeah. It's a massive result in the end, and at one moment I thought his championship could be in tatters when Plato made contact with him, when he was sideways. It looked as though, you know, he was going to lose a big chunk of points to Giovanardi, but it's Stephen Jelly who is the hero of the hour. He takes 2 wins out of 3 races here at Rockingham. What a day it's been for him. A great 2nd place for Andrew Jordan for Vauxhall, and Tom Chilton is going to take 3rd for Team Aon. That's a huge celebration. Turkington holds on to 4th. He kept his patience, as you said, Tim. He didn't let himself get too distracted. Now look at this battle for the final point between a struggling Fabrizio Giovanardi and the privateer Martin Johnson, who has scored a point this year, but only after someone else was excluded, I think. Johnson really has a chance here of scoring the final point. He's going to try, he's going to do it. He's got alongside Giovanardi, who's really struggling with that car, and Martin Johnson is going to take 10th and the final point and beat double champion Fabrizio Giovanardi. I tell you what, Martin will love that. That'll make his whole season worthwhile, but poor Fabrizio Giovanardi will know that the championship, that 3rd straight championship, is now going to be a lot more difficult after what's gone on in that race.
He certainly is, but there's 3 races to go, and absolutely anything can happen at Brands. We've seen it before. They're still going to be close enough. Plato probably can kiss his championship hopes goodbye, as can Jackson. It's going to be down to these 2 prize fighters, Giovanardi and Turkington.
Yep, absolutely right. Let's take a look back here. This was what happened to Turkington, with all that action sort of. There was Plato who took the late lunge down the inside, and this is what happened.
Now this car could easily have spun. Plato just pushes him straight again, then gets contact with Nash, which breaks the steering arm, I think, on Plato's car and puts Nash out. But fortunately, it just straightened Turkington up enough to continue.
The amazing thing was that Turkington didn't sort of swipe Nash hard as he came through, wasn't it?
No, and look, I mean, Turkington was defending the inside already, and it was really, that position was not really on for Plato. Oh, look at that. He was very lucky indeed not to get taken out, Turkington.
Incredibly lucky. He must have been on the brakes there to...
And then watch this, Giovanardi up the inside on the grass.
Johnny on the outside there, Johnny Herbert on the outside. Plato was already immediately in trouble. You could see he backed out of it straight away. but my goodness, that was one of the moments of the race, that's for sure. One of the moments of the season, I would think. That whole sequence was one of the best action, some of the best action we've seen all season, and particularly with the consequences it all has for the championship. Absolutely remarkable. And then this battle between Johnny Herbert and Fabrizio Giovanardi. Johnny, nice move that was classic sort of Formula Ford move to tease him one way and then dive back down the inside the other way. That was worthy of Johnny in his Formula Ford Festival winning days. That was a lovely piece of driving, and it worked perfectly to get past Giovanardi, and then Turkington, of course, also got involved. So the final race of the day here, remarkable race, seeing Stephen Jelley take 2 wins in the day. Andrew Jordan finished second, and Tom Chilton a brilliant 3rd place for Team Aon. Colin Turkington held on to a vital 4th place. It could be his most important ever 4th. Matt Jackson 5th, then Johnny Adam, Johnny Herbert, Gordon Shedden in 8th, Tom Onslow, Colin the other focus, both cars in the top 10, and Martin Johnson claiming the final point. Giovanardi was just outside the points. Plato in trouble, of course, as well. John George a lap down, so was Matt Hamilton. Anthony Reid a couple of laps down at the end. James Nash in trouble in that same incident, and various other cars, I'm afraid, out of the race early on. So in the championship, look at this. This is what has happened now with Colin Turkington regaining some of that advantage. In fact, he's now got more of an advantage than when we came to Rockingham. It's up to 13 points. That's a useful margin, but it doesn't mean he's champion by any means. There are 3 hard-fought races to go at Brands Hatch, and we know that anything can happen there. So fabulous racing here, and Stephen Jelley, for the 2nd time today, is going to celebrate this moment, and he can really enjoy it this time. Let's get down to Louise.
Stephen, 2 wins from 3 races. This is a weekend you're going to remember, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. The first one was big, and this is just a bonus. The Team RAC car's been awesome all weekend, and I think we set fastest lap as well, which was great.
Some tough fights going on out there, though.
All over the place. Like, look in the mirror, cars spinning everywhere, and all sorts kicking off. So good to be where I was, because it looked like it could have all kicked off.
Well done, great driving from you as well, because it looked like at times you were heading off into the wall there.
Yeah, I can't say I'm not disappointed, because I thought when we got out into the lead, kept pushing, I thought I might get that first win, but Stephen was doing a cracking job in the BM, really good pace, so I knew when I saw him get past the Ford it would be hard work, and he took a good move on me into the hairpin, and I got him back, and then eventually got me and made it stick. But great result. I haven't been on the podium for a while. We've had a couple of tough meetings, character building, so great result for Pertec, CBT and everyone at 888 Race Engineering. So, and I need to say hello to my nan and my brother. They're at home watching. I've always forgotten to say hi.
Slightly frustrating for you though, because you desperately wanted that win, didn't you?
Yeah, I did, and I stuck a good move on Tom, quite aggressive, and I thought, oh, let's go. And when I saw Tom and the BM's fight, I thought, here we go, let's get this win. And I kept pushing, but the BMs were very, very strong, and obviously they're very good on the tyre wear, which we just struggled a little bit. But the guys have set the car at mega. It's the best the car's handled all weekend, so thank you to them as well. Good
stuff, well done. Let's grab a word with Tom Chilton, who probably feels like he's just won that race.
Yeah, it is. It's like I've just won. Oh, unbelievable. Got an amazing start. Like I said on the grid, low heart rate, take it easy. And God, safety car came out, and I was thinking, we're still leading. This Ford Focus is a damn good chassis, in the words of Anthony Reid. And yeah, it was going really, really well. And I tried my absolute hardest to stay in front, but at the end of the straight we were just suffering a little bit, and that was making it quite easy for people to outbrake me there. But luckily, Plato being Plato started trying to ram off the whole world, and it was really good for me, because at the time Nash was trying to outbrake me, and I was really lucky because it actually made me go around the outside. I kept out of all the trouble, kept my head down, and I knew my tyres were going off, but I was literally like fingertips on the throttle, and I was like, come on, you can do this, and we did it.
Well done. Let's grab a quick word with Colin Turkington. Colin, I thought you were heading off into Corby Town Centre at one moment there. What a race.
You know, I could have either won that race or ended up on the wall, you know, but delighted to be fourth. You know, it's such a hard race in the middle of the pack, especially with Fabrizio behind me and Jason. So I'm really pleased, first of all, for Stephen, you know, to get another win, and also for myself to get, you know, crucial fourth and good points.
Amazing result for you as far as the championship's concerned as well. Fabrizio not scoring in that race.
Yeah, coming into this last chicane, everybody tripped over everybody else. You know, Fabrizio was trying to pass Johnny Herbert. He wasn't letting him go through easy, and I sneaked past onto the pit straight, and you know that was me safe. But you know, as far as championship, yeah, 13 points is. I came into the weekend with 11 and come out with 13th, and you know, really tough weekend. I wasn't particularly fast at all in qualifying or race one, but you know, we found the performance at the end.
Well done. We'll see you in Brands Hatch. Back to you, Steve.
So what a championship finale is promised at Brands Hatch. The long circuit, great drivers in contention, the climax of a season of commitment and determination. Which way will it go? 2 weeks' time. We're live from 11:30 in the morning, ITV4. Tim Harvey, your thoughts? Which way is it heading? Is it Turkington?
It's still too close to call. As we saw in that last race, the championship can fluctuate within the space of one race, backwards, forwards and backwards again. It's 13 points, but one bad race for either of them could decide it.
How impressed were you with Turkington today? And Turkington's good fortune in that last race as well.
It was good fortune because when Plato hit him, he could so easily have spun round and been right down at the back. It was doubly fortunate because Giovanardi was struggling with a problem and obviously finished out the points. But so fickle is the nature of touring car racing, particularly in that third race, that really it's still up for grabs. The only one that's out of it now is Plato.
And when it comes to a showdown like we've got at Brands, how important is the experience of someone like Giovanardi?
I think it's very important, but at the end of the day, they both have a huge amount of experience. Turkington is going to want it really badly. This has been his year. He's never won it before. Giovanardi is the old master. He knows how to win championships. But whoever wants it most, and that little bit of luck will decide it.
You got a championship to win there as well.
The same applies to me.
Absolutely. Thanks, Tim. Quick reminder that there's more sport coming up very shortly on ITV4. No end to the aggression and the contact. That's the Guinness Premiership in a few minutes' time. That's at 6:30 ITV4. And as you saw there, the next motorsport on ITV4, Motorsport UK on Tuesday at 5 o'clock ITV4 action from Knockhill. 27 races gone, 3 more will decide it all. Make sure you're with us live at Brands Hatch in 2 weeks' time. Bye for now.